the more experience you have looking at faces, looking at antique dolls, feeling antique doll bisque, even just looking at them in pictures, you'll get a very good sense pretty quickly what a reproduction doll looks like, or what we call an artist doll. You can see where the new paint ends and where the original paint on the bisque begins. If you look real close, you can see that.
Don't make me cry, I'm trying to film.
Oh, was that gonna make you cry?
Yeah.
Why? Pull up a chair because we're playing dolls in this video. Stick around. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. I own and operate Turn of the Century Antiques, which is the home of the Virtual Doll Convention. And we have a doll shop out here in Denver, Colorado, which is where we are. And we have so much fun doing all kinds of doll things and putting it on the internet and chatting with you. So a special warm welcome if you're new here. What is this? What is this? What do we do here? We do all kinds of doll things. We work with a lot of different people. We post all kinds of different things, from antique to vintage to modern to everyday life and things that are happening around the shop. So you can kind of consider it sort of like a reality show for dolls. That's kind of what I think it is. Don't you think, Stan? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stanley does a wonderful job filming, which is so good. But you see Stanley sometimes on the camera, but that's what it is. And this is a safe place to enjoy and to learn about dolls and to have fun and engage with other people and meet some friends. I only show what I do and what we know and what's happening, and also the programming and the videos and things are a product of what is happening in my life. So I have a 14-month-old daughter named Holland Diane. She's not here right now, which is why we're able to get some work done, which is kind of fun. Of course, Stanley misses her, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's my bud.
She is his bud. But anyway, we're here to chat dolls. We'll have Holland Diane in our video on Thursday. So what we have here is a little mini doll haul. Yeah, it's kind of, I wouldn't consider it a big doll haul. It's kind of a mini doll haul. But a wonderful lady named Nancy. She's had her aunt's dolls for several decades. She is going on to a new life, and she is moving to Florida and retiring from her nursing career. Thank you so much, Nancy, for your service. And anyway, she sold the dolls to us. We had a wonderful conversation. She loved knowing they were going here and meeting us and everything. And her aunt was a doll collector that just was a quirky, wonderful lady. There she is right there. And she just loved doing dolls. There it is. Her name was Arax, A-R-A-X, which is an Armenian name, Arklin. So she loved doing dolls, and when she passed, several dolls got put with different members of the family. Now Nancy has had them a long time. They've been kept away for a long time, and she wanted to have them go to a good home. She wanted them to go to other collectors. She is not necessarily a doll collector, and nobody in her family was, so the best place is for them to get back in the hands of doll collectors. So let's just start from the top, and we're just gonna dig in and do some doll stuff. Now there's all kinds of different dolls here. This is a lot of times what it looks like. If you've seen any of our doll hauls, or you have, sometimes they're huge and they take up an entire house, and there are several cars full, and it goes on for ages and ages. Sometimes we just buy one doll, sometimes we buy a table of dolls, but it's always a lot of fun. So what I'm always going to do when I share with you is try and share with you a lot of what I know and what I'm learning too. And I'm never afraid to say that I don't know something and that I am learning. And we're just going to talk about what's here and what we're going to do. So Lynda, if you're watching, girl, we're excited to get you back. Lynda has had a knee replacement surgery, and I'm so excited for her to get that fixed and she's doing rehab twice a week and getting so much better. She was in a lot of pain, so it's a very good thing, but we definitely miss her here, especially when we get these antique dolls. So Lynda, this is your next job, girl. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of things for you to do. So right when you were going through, let's just talk about them right off the bat, is the reproduction dolls. Now, as you get further, and if you're new to doll collecting, don't let this kind of scare you. The more experience you have looking at faces, looking at antique dolls, feeling antique doll bisque, even just looking at them in pictures, you'll get a very good sense pretty quickly what a reproduction doll looks like, or what we call an artist doll. Now, that doesn't mean they're fakes or anything like that. It just means that an artist made them in the likeness of an antique doll. Most of the time they're going to be marked. This one is probably marked on it somewhere. Look at this. You can just look at this, look at the bisque. You can tell that this is newly poured bisque. It's not from the late 1800s. It's not from the early 1900s. Very crudely kind of done face, and you'll figure that out pretty quickly. But most of the time, artist type dolls, or what we call reproductions of an antique, are going to be marked. So this one right here is a reproduction of an SFBJ 236 googly. This doll is on like a googly body, but the head is marked SFBJ 236. So the 236 models they're German dolls, but they're usually referred to as what is called a laughing Jumeau. But let's look at the mark right here. So now look at the top, ARAX. So this was made actually by the lady who all of these dolls, the collection came from. And she was a beginning doll maker. You can tell it's not an advanced looking doll, but it was made with a lot of heart and a lot of love. Now, we're going to show you a little bit later in the video a reproduction doll made by Lynda Marx, who's a very well-known, she made incredible dolls, reproduction dolls, and hers were marked too. Okay, it took us a second. I thought he was in photography, but he's over here. Lynda dressed our SFBJ 236, and he is so cute. Look at him right there. But we're gonna get up close because you're gonna see the difference between the reproduction, which is one that she made out of love, which is fun. Everyone starts somewhere, and then the antique doll. So big difference right there. As you get going, you'll be able to see the tint of the bisque, the painting, all the things. So a lot of times the marks on these molds are made off of, the marks are copied from an antique doll. So sometimes the marks look incredibly perfect because they are copied from a true antique doll. This one probably was. It looks pretty good. But again, you can tell when you're looking at an antique versus a more modern, newly made one, the biggest thing is the bisque. Now, we have another, actually, SFBJ 236. They are known as the Laughing Jumeau, but they're not Jumeau dolls. Sometimes collectors like to put names on things, and they're known in the collector community as something, but it doesn't necessarily make it the right thing because it's not a Jumeau, but sometimes they're still called Laughing Jumeau. It's like a, I don't know, what do you call that? Just kind of a collector term. I think it's what it is. But let's go look at the other one that we have just for fun, because we have another one. So I noticed that we have two. This one is so sweet. She's really big, 25-inch. Look at her. Look how cute. Again, big difference, but you can see where they were going. You can kind of see it in the mouth and the lips a little bit. And this is a very large one. I have never actually seen one on a all bisque body, but again, they're almost like fantasy type dolls when you're making them. And sometimes people go for complete authenticity, and sometimes they're just having fun in class. So that's what that is. While we're talking about them though, now this one is made by Lynda Marx. Her dolls are very well known for being very, very well made. And this one is beautifully made, okay? This is a brew reproduction. Now let's look at the back. See, it's signed Lynda Marx, 1982, June 8. Now that mark, that mold is made off of an original June 8 doll, which is why it looks incredibly authentic, but all artists sign their work, or they at least should. So the first thing you need to do all the time, if you're looking at a doll and you're confused on if it's antique or original and you're just starting out, don't worry, it can be very confusing, but one of the first things to do is just always look to see if it's signed by the artist. And that can clear out like 80% of the questions usually, so that helps a lot. But again, she's beautifully made. Look at her bisque, look at her eyeshadow and the eyes. I mean, that's That's talent right there. So I really appreciate a well-made doll like that, because this is a lot of work. That's a lot of work to make an antique doll. And the people that make the antique reproduction dolls, they make them because they love dolls. They're doll collectors, they're doll lovers. Lynda loves antique dolls, and when she started, she wasn't able to purchase all of the dolls that she wanted, the fine antique French and German dolls. Lynda really loves German dolls, and so she started making them. And it's taken decades and decades and decades to be where she is right now as a doll maker. Let's dive right into our next one. So this one was the rarest in the bunch. I am super excited to get her. She's gonna look fabulous once we get her in a wonderful dress. But this is a French doll by Jumeau. So the Jumeau factory started in France. The Jumeau dolls were what you would consider at the time and still now kind of the upper crust of doll collecting. Now, I'm not saying it's German dolls or not, because there's some incredibly rare, wonderful German dolls, but just across the board, the French dolls are considered more of the higher end as far as collecting, and especially when you start getting into Jumeaus. There's all kinds of Jumeaus. The early Jumeaus, those can be kind of hard to figure out because they are oftentimes not marked on the back of the head, but a lot of them are. And so that is also a very good starting place. This one in particular is an EJ Jumeau, and that is for Emile Jumeau. And see that déposé? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. That says déposé, which means patented. Déposé means that this doll was patented, but you find that on German dolls too. So that can be a little bit confusing, but just know that that déposé, or when it says DEP, that means that it was patented. It's not the maker of the doll, because a lot of times it'll be marked with the maker of the doll too. But this doll is wonderful. She has wonderful antique undergarments. Look at the body. An original finished body with the original mark. Very good. She's got cute blue earrings. She has great painting. So when we were looking for damage, we take the doll. This is my easiest way. I just like to put it up to a light. And I'm looking for any kind of cracks in the bisque, which she didn't have any. Totally good. But that's the easiest way to do it, because if you hold a doll up and it has cracks, you're gonna see them right away. You're also gonna see a repair. Sometimes repairs are so incredibly good that you can't see them, but they're there. So we're back with the Jumeau. So for some reason, it must be a different one here, because we have so many Jumeaus, but we actually do have a lot of them. Not that many, but I'm gonna do a video soon, maybe just on all the Jumeaus in the shop. I think that would be fun, don't you think? Just a video on the Jumeaus and talk about them. But this one right here is a very early Jumeau. She is not marked. See? She's not marked. She's an early Jumeau, and oh, there it is. Look at this. Okay. So this is super hard to see. You can't see this with the light, but I can see it over top. So she has had, look real close. Hopefully you can see in the camera. Can you see that? Can you see that repair on the face? This can be probably seen with a black light, but if you look really close, you can see that the facial paint has had a repair, over painted on the nose, and then it ends about right there. So look at the blush. You can see where the new paint ends and where the original paint on the bisque begins. If you look real close, you can see that. You can really see it right there. Look at the difference right there. The difference right here. So this wonderful early Jumeau, now she's fabulous. She is a member of my mother's collection. She's not for sale. She's just, I adore her. We love her very much. If you say no to special, wonderful dolls, just in my opinion, because they have a little damage, I think you're missing out. Because on display, this doll is incredibly wonderful. From a distance, even up close, look how long it took me. And I have a trained eye. And now, once I saw it, and I would be able to spot, we'll get her back together. I would be able to spot that pretty quick, but I thought it was in the head and not on the face. Let's see from a different angle. But if you look real close at the paint, and it's actually gotten worse over the years, because you can kind of see the separation between the new paint and the old paint, but it's okay. This is a wonderful, wonderful early 1870s Jumeau. They have straight wrists. They are ball jointed here and here. She always sat on the floor in front of the crib to make a beautiful Christmas scene as long as I can remember. So we're gonna put her back. Now what we're looking for, this is why we started this whole charade, is because we're looking for a hairline or a crack inside the head of a doll. This is a wonderful large Jumeau that my mom has always loved and cherished, and it has been a part of her collection because she always loved putting it in my childhood crib, which you've seen this doll in a lot of videos, but now we're gonna get up close. Now I've known forever that this one had a hairline in the head. Now look really close. All right, and you sometimes have to position the light, but can you see it? Up and around. This has been reinforced as well. So whoever did the overspray on this did a fantastic job. It looks so good. You can see right here where it's chipping though. Underneath is the original bisque. Over top is the repair paint. So you can see that. And then let's look in here. So when you turn it over, you can really see where that crack has been reinforced in there. And they did a very good job. It looks so good. From a distance, it's very hard to tell. This is a much later Jumeau. So the ones that say Tete Jumeau are some of the later Jumeaus. Tete Jumeau came out much later than EJ and some of the unmarked Jumeaus. But if you get a Jumeau book, they really just lay this out for you and you can really learn a lot about Jumeaus. As far as Jumeaus go, any kind of Jumeau, a closed mouth is always going to be rarer than an open mouth. We're going to put her back in the crib, but she always had these cute little earmuffs. This is a big one. We like all Jumeaus. We have early Jumeaus, we have later Jumeaus, we have that 1907 Jumeau that's in the red cape that you can see in my Christmas tour video. There's a lot to learn about Jumeaus, so maybe we'll just do a Jumeau video here. Put in the comments if you'd like a Jumeau video. All right, let's put her back and then let's dive back into our collection over here. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? I love when we can do this, so put in the comments if this is the kind of content that you like from us. I like to do all kinds of content. Now, sometimes I don't have the capacity, or we don't have the stuff, or we don't have Lynda, or there's a lot of reasons why we do and do not do things, but I think just sitting and chatting, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, which is why I'm asking you. I was thinking about, because sometimes I get down on myself thinking, oh, I don't know all of these things, and I don't know enough to write a book, and I don't do all these things. Well, I still know a lot because this is what I do and this is what I surround myself with, and there's so much that I can share. And so I was thinking this morning, Rachel, you could make a video just off of one little subject or another subject or another subject. So now I have a list in my cell phone. This morning I wrote down a list of 10 different videos that I think I could do just in the next week. So my goal this week, we'll see how that pans out with our little one, is to do a video every day. Every day, because it doesn't have to be some like big old thing. It can just be, we can just sit and chat about dolls and talk about a topic of conversation. So I'm having fun. Let me know if you want to see those videos, because if you do, we will film them, we will edit them, and we will put them online. Okay, here's another one. This is a Jumeau in a birdcage not in a birdcage, with a birdcage. This is a
Automaton?
Automata. There's, people pronounce it all different kinds of ways. You can call it
Automaton. Automaton?
No, I think it's automaton. I think it's automaton.
Yeah, automaton.
Automaton. It's not automaton, which a lot of people say, but honestly, like, it's okay.
Okay.
All right, so don't ever wind them, overwind them. Is she gonna go? Hello, sister. Trying to get her to breathe. Come on, girl. Come on. She's not doing it. Sometimes, like, it's just a matter of just, when they say not gonna screw loose, like sometimes, like,
she has a good shaking movement.
It's not happening. Okay. Now her hands there's repaint on these hands. These are not the original arms, but she has a pretty Jumeau head. This is she's unmarked. She does have a mark of the maker. She does look later to me though. She does kind of have like a Tete face, and look at those big exaggerated eyelashes. Just a very Jumeau look, as they had big exaggerated, not always, but a lot of them did, exaggerated eyelashes, exaggerated brows. When you think of the Jumeau look and it's not a really early one or a super, super rare one, this is a lot of times what they looked like. Now I'm a little bummed that she's not working and that I also didn't try before purchasing, but that's okay. This one was interesting. This one, I am just not quite sure about as far as the originality, and I am not an automata expert.
Robot.
But she does work. Let's get her working now. One thing that I do like about this is I'm not sure when this all was put together, but it is antique. Look underneath. Look at those shoes. Look at the clothes. Look at the undergarments. Look at that. I love how old that is. Let's wind her again. Let's do our 3. How many times do we wind it?
3.
3 times.
And no more. 4 strikes and you're out.
1, 2, 3. She's kind of leaning forward and then she kind of goes back. There she goes. Now she originally was holding something, so you can see the holes in the hands. She might have had a flag or a feather or she could have had a bird cage. There's a lot of different things that were possibly hung from her hands in there. She could have had a teapot. I mean, all kinds of things, but look at her go. This is an antique wig with human hair. This is human hair too. We could do a whole one on just human hair and mohair, which can be very, very, very confusing. That's the thing. It's like, I grew up doing this. Of course, I wish now that I had listened way more when my mom was trying to teach me, but I was young and I just wanted to do the website and focus on social media. And then it was like, oh crap, I really should have learned more, but
Social media?
social media. You learn a lot of times you learn by doing and by making mistakes, and that's one of the best ways to learn is you do it and then you think, okay, I learned from that and now I'm gonna do it differently next time. Okay, here's the next one. This is a French girl. She looks like an FG to me, and that stands for Francois Gautier. Now, I was gonna say, like, this is obviously not an original dress, but I don't want to use the word obviously anymore because a lot of us, maybe you're new here, you're new to doll collecting, you're new to all of it, and you're like, I wouldn't have known that. So we're gonna talk about some things. When we're looking at original dresses, the biggest thing is to get a feel for the age of the fabric and the type of sewing and how it's constructed. So we will look at some dolls that have original clothing, and there's a big, big, big difference. This looks like it was probably made in the 70s at some point. This leather body is very nice. It's a little bit, we'll call it brittle.
Stiff.
It's actually pretty supple, yeah, stiff, to where, because she was standing on a stand that kind of, the stand fell a little bit, and so she's been standing in this position for a very long time, so her legs are not straight. Now, this is very typical on our French fashions with leather bodies. We have another one, she's wonderful, I think she's a Bru fashion, and it's almost like this. Speaking of like this, like with the legs straight out like that, Holland Diane was when she was born, she was called Frank Breech, which means she was like this. So like she was like a taco for almost 3 whole days. She stayed like that. And then her legs went down. I don't think that the same thing is going to happen with this fashion, but it made me think of that. But hers were like straight out and up.
Don't make me cry. I'm trying to film.
Oh. Was that gonna make you cry?
Yeah.
Why?
I just feel so sorry for her.
Oh, she was okay. She was all. I was taking good care of her.
I remember you saying that, but I don't remember you saying it was 3 days before she started to stretch out again.
Yeah, and then at day 5, I was 5 days postpartum, C-section, had to go to a hospital all the way downtown and see.
Who cares about you?
See an expert to make sure she didn't have to wear like a leg brace or something to straighten her out.
Right.
And they said to give it a few weeks and see, and then she just straightened out and she was fine. Sometimes they have to wear leg braces though. Okay, let's look at another one. Oh, this one. This is a good example. So we talked about, we just talked about on the last doll, we talked about fabric. This is older fabric than this fabric. Now they're 2 totally different types of fabric, but when you're looking at them, you can see, sometimes they dye the lace to make it look older, but you can see that this is aged and it is older. just by looking at it. She's cute though, once she's all cleaned up, and I love her red wig. It's a little bit sparse, but gosh, what beautiful, beautiful red hair. That is natural human hair, and that is gorgeous. Let's look at an example of one that is marked with the maker. So K-Star R, Simon and Halbig 403. This makes it real easy. It's a model 403 by K-Star R and Simon and Halbig, which are German makers. So that helps a lot when you're looking and identifying. The first thing when you're trying to identify a doll is look at the back of the head, because a lot of times they're just marked straight out with the manufacturer. I would say a lot of the time they are, unless they were made by a company that was very small and they didn't mark their dolls, or the very early dolls a lot of times were not marked. There's a lot of reasons why a doll might not be marked, but for the most part, they're gonna be marked. Let's look up another one just to see. Oh, here we go, here's another one. All it says DEP. Now, a lot of times if you pull down, and this can be hard to do, I don't recommend just like doing it. I'm doing it now for the sake of the video, but if you pull down the leather on French and German dolls, a lot of times there will be marking right here on the shoulder plate that's underneath the leather. So it can be like a mark that's kind of hidden. And that's important to do when you are dealing with high-end dolls and you really have to see if they're marked, especially like French ones. We've had Berrois dolls that were marked right across there after we very gently soaked off the leather and peeled it back. Don't just pull it like I just did. This was already pulled down. This is not a extremely valuable doll, which is why I just did that for the video, just to show you. This one says, it's kind of hard to see. Let's see if I can. This one, do you see the AM, which stands for Armand Marseille, DEP, which what does that stand for?
Patented.
Patented, made in Germany. And it's a 3200. So this is one of the most common German-made dolls on the entire planet. And I would say that the most common German-made doll on the entire planet, you want to take a guess, Stanley?
The what?
The most common German doll on the planet. Like the one you see. An AM 390 or an AM 370. And some of them are so freaking cute. So don't count them out. They're a fun doll to purchase. They're very affordable, and there's some fabulous ones out there.
And what does AM stand for? Armand Marseille.
Armand Marseille.
Oh,
That's
cool.
right.
I can still
So,
keep working here now?
You can still, you got your job for another week, Stanley.
Awesome.
This is a cute little doll. She is marked 192, now 7/0. So she doesn't have the maker on there. She could be a Kessner. She could be another maker. And if you can't think of it or you don't know off the top of your head, there's the German Marx book that I showed you in another video. They were on sale, I think on Therial's website for like $5 last year. Great book. I can show it to you in the end of the video if you want to see it again. Here's a Dream Baby. I know this off the top of my head because I've seen a lot of them. It's kind of hard. A lot of times the markings are underneath where the head goes, but you can find it. Look at that little thing. Cute. This is it looks like the original body. That's not a typically valuable doll, but they're very cute. Now look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness. This is fun. This is an FG. That stands for Francois Gautier. She is a French doll. She is not on the original body. We can tell from looking at her. First of all, because she looks very disproportioned, and it's not what would be on this kind of doll. She's got a pretty head. Sentimental value is priceless to a family history, but when we're talking about reselling a doll and when you're looking at the characteristics that are going to build value into it, one of the biggest things is the painting and the quality of the painting and the quality of the bisque. Look close right here. You don't even have to look that close. When you look at the lower eyelashes, look at all those splotches. Look at all those paint splotches. So this doll was probably purchased pretty inexpensively at a doll show, maybe just the head by itself, and then it was put onto this body. This head needs to be looked at because there's probably some things going on underneath, but you can see the F, G, and then if we pulled up that wig, we could probably see a little bit more.
And that means freaking good.
That means freaking good. If I was in charge of making doll bonnets here, this is what they would look like. Like they would look like that. I think this is kind of an ingenious way to do it.
You are in charge.
Well, not of making doll bonnets.
Oh, okay. That's Lynda's.
It's such a skilled thing. That's the thing. Is like when you see high prices of dolls, you see a doll selling for a lot of money on the internet, there's usually a reason why. And it's probably because it has a fabulous outfit, original or not. But if it's made by somebody that is an artisan, that knows what they're doing, that uses fabulous fabrics, and they made it in the likeness of what it should have had at the time, that's worth its weight in gold for real. So it's a really important thing. These dolls are all so special, but not one of them is dressed like they would have been dressed or should have been dressed at the time of when they came out. The closest one is this EJ, because she has antique undergarments, but we're gonna find a fabulous dress for her. A fabulous, fabulous dress. The document that the wonderful, wonderful lady who sold these dolls to me, the document that she had was that this was a French fashion in its original outfit. That's what her document said. So just because a document says something, and this is coming from a person that is a professional appraiser, doesn't mean that it's necessarily true. Now if I write something down, I try to make sure it's true, which is why I don't write too many things down. But this is not the original dress. Now, that all of those things make a difference into the value. Now, but look at the body. The body is actually in really good condition. So this doll will actually sell better. Not even leather. It's kid leather. Mm-hmm. But look at the condition. It's in really nice condition. If you were looking at this doll for sale, I think you might even be a little bit more interested in the doll if she wasn't wearing this outfit at all, because it swallows her. You can't even see her. See, is she marked? She's marked with a 0, a size 0. Hopefully you can see that. The wig's too big, it all swallows her up. So if I was going to sell this doll, I would probably just sell her nude, so that somebody that wants to sew, this is a great doll to sew for, a great size. She's probably about 12 inches. I don't know if we have our measuring tape up here. She's probably about 12 inches. Great size to sew for, and her body's in good condition. I think we talked about most things here on the table. I really enjoyed spending some time with you today chatting dolls. We do a little bit of everything here. So when you come to my channel, sometimes, like I said earlier in this video, we work with other creators. Sometimes we're launching modern stuff. We do a lot of work with Robert Tonner, which has just been some of the most fun we've ever had in dolls, which is right now we're working on a mix and match sale that's coming for next month. And modern dolls they're a whole discovery, and they have such a place in our world and for collecting. We collect dolls for so many different reasons. So many different reasons. Whatever your reason is for collecting and enjoying dolls, I want you to know that you are doing a good job. You are doing something that is so incredibly important. And if people in your life degrade you, or they don't understand, or they make it like you're not doing the right thing, try and surround yourself and watch content and ingest things and follow people that understand and love what you're doing and support you in that. Because the doll community and collecting and doing dolls, as a collector myself and as a business owner and just in my entire life, it's been one of the best things that I have ever done in my life. I have met incredible people. They have taken me all over the world, and I have learned so much. So from one doll collector to another, keep up the good work, keep learning, read those books, go to every doll show that you possibly can, go to every doll event that you can, and just meet people and enjoy your dolls. Hello. Well, it's not quite the end of the video. This is actually the next day, because first of all, I remembered that I said I was going to let you know this book. This is the German doll Marx book. It's by Cieslik. Cieslik. Jürgen and Marianne Cieslik. And I've mentioned this book in other videos, but it's so good. Here, open it up. I just want to show. So if your doll is marked, let's say it's marked with a 131. Well, it could be a CF Kling. It could be a Hertel Schwab. It could be a Recknagel. It could be a Kessner. It could be a Cameron Reinhardt. Oh, that's 132. But you see where I'm going with this? It helps narrow it down. So sometimes a doll is marked with just one of these numbers. See the mold number right here? And then you can look up the mold number and it comes up with possibilities. So this is super helpful for German dolls. The last time I saw this, it was on, I think Therialt's had it actually for like $5. I don't know if they still do, but you can get them on the secondary market. It's worth it. So that's the book. Yeah. Oh, Gold Horse Publishing. Okay. So they I don't know. They probably still have it, but so that is published by Theriault. So get it. It's very, very valuable. I felt like a dunce in my video yesterday because I was like, I don't know if this works or not. It did work when I bought it, and then I forgot. I have a lot of things going on in my head. But anyway, Stanley got it working again because I never would have bought it without knowing if it worked.
So, need to give it a little wind. I think it was wound pretty tight yesterday.
Was it wound too tight?
I think a little bit, and then I messed with this release a little bit, and now she's going good. The bird was going earlier. Maybe it activates at some point.
Okay, what does he do? Let's see.
He just kind of rocks forward a little bit and back. See, he just barely moves.
He just moves a little bit. So every movement that this doll has, such as the arm going up and down, the head going up and down, and back and forth. Did this arm move? I'm not.
A little tiny bit, maybe.
That is called a movement. And the more movements they have, the more rare and oftentimes valuable it is.
She needs her hair worked on.
Yes. Lynda 911 for this hair. This wig has got to go.
I'm not sure what's going on right here. There's a tiny nick there on the nose.
That is a beauty mark. So this wig is too modern for her. This is she would look so much better in an
Shirley
antique.
Temple wig, actually.
It's not a Shirley Temple wig, but it's the wrong wig. We need a beautiful antique mohair wig. It would be wonderful to have like even a goat's hair wig. That right there is a kiln speck. That's no biggie. That's a piece of dirt that came in the kiln.
There was the bird. Yeah, I think that hand has been repainted.
I think they both have.
Both of them?
Yeah. And I think they're replacements too. I'll have to phone a friend or look a little bit closer at them, but I looked up inside them and they don't look antique. So, you know, she's very sweet. Look at that. I don't know if I showed too much, but she does have antique undergarments, and look at the shoes. But I am relieved she's working, and I thought, oh my gosh, the people watching this video must think I'm a nutcase to be like, I don't know if it works or not, because it did work. And how'd you get it to work?
Basically just got in a really stable table and then messed with the release button a little bit. Sometimes you really need to pull back harder on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a little sticky.
The music is beautiful. I love that. All right. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.